For more on this story, we're now joined by Calvin Dock from Washington, D.C. Calvin Dock is a global affairs commentator and analyst. Thanks so much for joining us here on WION. Let me ask you this. The Respect for Marriage Act, no doubt a highly progressive and a very welcome legislation, has now been passed in the US with bipartisan support. But at the same time, Republicans are now saying this may curtail religious freedom. Do you believe there's a real danger that once control of the House of Representatives is passed on to the GOP in January, the party may try and dilute this legislation?
Good morning and glad to be here. No, they won't be able to do that. Even if the Republicans try to do something to weaken it in the House of Representatives, it would never pass the Senate, and it wouldn't get Joe Biden's signature. So I'm not worried about that. But I just wanted to step back just a moment and, just kind of, if we think about how we got here, this vote in the Senate yesterday is because of the abortion ruling in the Supreme Court. And the reason for that is it's been since 2015 legal everywhere in this country for LGBT couples to marry. However, it was because of the Supreme Court decision in 2015. Now, with abortion, that was the same way when the court struck down Roe v. Wade. What happened, the reason this is happening now is because one of the justices, in his opinion on the decision Dobbs that struck down Roe versus Wade, Clarence Thomas said, who, by the way, is in an interracial marriage, said that we should, maybe look at the same-sex marriage rights and other things that had just been accepted in this country. So what Democrats did was they said, we want to make sure that the same thing doesn't happen with same-sex marriage as what happened with abortion, meaning let's put it into law so that if this conservative Supreme Court did decide next year to strike down the decision allowing same-sex marriage, it wouldn't revert back to the period before it was legal in the United States.
I'm glad you brought up the issue of the abortion ban because I was going to come to that. Now, for the first time ever, a poll shows that 55% of Republicans actually favor same-sex marriages. This has come as a big surprise to many, though a pleasant and welcome one. But do you believe that the Republicans will continue to support such progressive legislations, or will political and electoral calculations eventually come in the way, as we've seen with the abortion ban disaster in the U.S.?
Well, I think that 55% number, that doesn't reflect the Republicans who are in power. Because let's think about it. Only 12 sided with Democrats on this issue. So the Republicans have a long ways to go. I was looking at the list of the Republicans who did sign on. I was very happy that my home state, North Carolina, both my senators signed on to it, and both of them are Republican. So that shows you there is some movement. But from a human rights standpoint, the party should be supporting it. Americans should be supporting it. But from a political standpoint, it's also a stupid move, because how are you going to be viable in the future as a party if you are alienating LGBT voters and young people who overwhelmingly support LGBT rights and protections? So politically and morally, it was a horrible decision by the Republicans.
All right. Well, whatever the Republican lawmakers may say, fact of the matter is this is a big win for the LGBTQ community in the United States. Calvin Dock, thanks so much for speaking to WION.